inverse tangent, using them to solve some problems. Real world or just geometry, like without any sort of context. Let's answer question 2, which by the way, it's only that triangle. This one's gonna be for question 3. Question 2, calculate the measure of angle E. Step 1, find angle E and make sure you know it's the reference angle. Step 2, highlight the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. Next step, highlight the opposite side. I don't know if I should call it step 3 or just say next. And the final step, maybe step 4, maybe just part of the opening process, highlight the adjacent side. And I'm trying to be consistent with my highlight for yellow and orange for opposite and adjacent because tangent, if I write this one way, this is maybe like the middle step you'll eventually not write down, but I'm gonna write it for us right now. Tangent is opposite to the adjacent side. So 3/8. But if we have that relationship and we don't know the measure of the angle, I subtly put angle E right there. Did you catch it? If we don't know the measure of the angle, then in the worked example, we should show this step. We should do this step, which means tangent inverse of the tangent of E. This is the new thing being added to the left side of the equation. And when you solve equations in mathematics, you got to maintain balance. So if you do something to the left side of an equation, you have to also do it to the right, which means tangent inverse of 3/8. Now, because of that structure, the tangent inverse, I might say arctangent from time to time, it's the equivalent amount, they will reduce, wrong phrase, but right idea. Cancel is maybe a little more appropriate. Arctangent of tangent is an undo process, and we're left with E equals. Now, I don't know what tangent inverse of 3/8 is off the top of my head. I could guess it's probably around 30 degrees, but I'm going to use the calculator to do that. So, with the calculator off, let me show you here. Okay, with the calculator off, turn the calculator on. Right, you got to have it ready to go, and press this button right here. It's the quick scratch pad. There are other things you could press as well. I'm going to go ahead and clear this because I don't need you to see the previous video's calculation. But trig, okay? And then select tangent inverse. You can mouse over to it, or you can highlight it, but once you're there, select it. Now we have tangent inverse on the screen, and we need to put this fraction in the parentheses. Just do 3 divided by 8. That doesn't look like a stacked fraction because it's kind of like in a line fraction, but it'll get the job done. Enter. The angle, 20.56 degrees. 20.56 degrees. Awesome, fantastic, there it is. Well, let's try question 3 then. This is the diagram for question 3. And so I'm going to go read question 3 and then come back to this page. You should do the same. Movable bridges help to open waterways for large boats and barges. When the bridge moves, all vehicle traffic stops. The maximum height of the open bridge deck of the movable bridge is 37 feet above the road, and the waterway width is 85 feet. Calculate the angle measure formed by the movement of the bridge. So back on this picture, I'm going to bring in my color and my highlighters because I need to be consistent. We need to be consistent and discuss it. So this is going to be my reference angle. That's first. The hypotenuse. Now, we haven't done anything with hypotenuse in this lesson, but that's going to be in the upcoming lessons. So I want to make sure I'm continuing to identify it. 37 feet is the opposite side of our reference angle, and 85 feet is the next to adjacent side of our angle, which means we can write the tangent of x is 37 feet over 85 feet. And I'm including the units of measurement because when you have feet over feet, they reduce. It's all about angles, yo. X degrees. Now, to undo that process from the previous page says arctangent of tangent exposes the angle. But then you have to have the arctangent of the fraction on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and show that step, but maybe you're starting to pick up that you can get a shortcut in like if you observe something right now. So be observant. Tangent inverse of the tangent of x equals tangent inverse of 37 over 85. Arctangent and tangent cancel out, which means x degrees equals tangent inverse of 37 over 85, which is approximately equal to the number we're going to get from the calculator right now. Tangent inverse. I want arctangent. And then I'm going to go 37 divide by 85. I'm in degree mode, by the way. I haven't mentioned that in the beginning of the video, but you must be in degree mode. There is another mode that we will not talk about in geometry right now, but you need to know that it's there. And my degrees, 23.52 degrees. There we go. Arctangent. Last question. A ski slope at Snowy Valley has the measurements shown. So the measurement here being 5,022.8 feet and 4,689.2 feet. Determine the angle of elevation of the ski slope. This is quite a question. Have we even discussed this? I don't think we have, but I'll let you know. Angle of elevation is if you're looking straight out towards a horizon line and then you spot something up above the horizon line, then your eyes are going to make this arc movement of look out and then look up. And that angle of your eye out to up is angle of elevation. So angle X is right here. Now they put X in that spot. I think this question is messed up, but we're going to salvage it. We're going to salvage it like this. If we know the hypotenuse and the opposite side, actually we don't know the opposite side, but I know where it is relative to the reference angle, and then the adjacent side, we can always find the missing side of a triangle by using Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And heads up, squared means the thing times itself. It does not mean times 2. It means a times a, b times b, and c times c. Another way to write this Pythagorean theorem is written like this. A squared equals c squared minus b squared. All I'm doing is just subtracting both sides by b squared, but the consistency of our math equation is the same. A squared equals c squared minus b squared. I'm still trying to figure out the length of x over here. Sorry for the multiple x's. But this x length right here is the opposite side, and I don't know how big that is. And in order to use tangent, I have to know that number. I can go one more step. So finally, I can say a equals the square root of c squared minus b squared. And this is like super high def, super high key sort of way of calculating the opposite side length, because I haven't used any of the numbers from the problem yet, and yet I'm about to. What I'm about to do is calculate A by doing 5,022.8 squared minus 46,809.2, no, 4,689.2, that quantity squared, square root that quantity, and then I'll have an approximate answer for side A. And all of that can go into the calculator. I might even be able to ask Siri for a little bit of help. Hey Siri, what's 5,022.8 squared minus 4,689.2 squared?
It's approximately 3,239,923.2.
Hey Siri, what's the square root of that number?
The answer is approximately 1,799.9786.
And if you think about how it's rounded to one decimal, this is actually 1,800 feet. Okay, just to prove that that worked, here I go over this one. Let's do calculator on. Calculator on. Hey, point of note, when you take the ACTs, make sure you have a fully functioning calculator. Now, I'm gonna need that for the finishing of the video. Now, to do the actual angle of elevation, which might as well write this one in pink now because the angle of elevation is the actual question to solve. All of this was not the answer, but part 1 that had to be answered. Now we do part 2. And part 2, did you catch the shortcut up here? Did you catch the shortcut for finding the angle? Do I have to show all of this? No. Do you need to know that it exists? Yes. So I'm just gonna use what I know on this line to write the shortcut that our x degree angle of elevation is the tangent inverse of the opposite side, this number. So this is A, this is A, this is A, divided by the adjacent side. 1,800 divided by 4,689.2. And we need a number for that one. So calculator, is calculator gonna work? 1 second. Make sure your calculators are charged. When you take a test like for college or for anything else, you're gonna need to make sure that you have a functioning, properly set up calculator. Now I've got my new one because I have access to it, but if any issues, take care of them before you actually take the test. Here we go, last one. Tangent inverse, so trig, tangent inverse. 1,800, that was the result over here, divided by 4,689.2. Lock it in. A 21 degree angle. 21.0 degrees. And we should show the 0.0 just to let us know there's some super rounding happening in this problem. I don't want to write 20.9998 when that's super close, roundable to 21 degrees. My word, that has been it for inverse tangent, aka arctangent. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate your attention and your learning. We're gonna finish this lesson 2 by doing the talk to talk activity last. So stick around, finish that out, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.